All right, and we are live.
Live.
On to another episode of the Live Clean and Fight Dirty Show. Today's topic: what does the pit do about dojo storms? Dojo storm. What is dojo storming? Dojo storming is when a group of people decide to raid a dojo to challenge them in sparring. What should you do if you're a student or a coach in this situation? Well, I'm here with UFC coach John Hackelman, and he's got history. Now, I thought when I thought about this topic, I thought we were just going to talk about a little bit of dojo storming, like what should you do, but apparently he's got a long
We got
history of dojo storming. So what's going on, John? What are your thoughts on this? What should you do? How have you handled it in the past? How do you handle it in the present? Let's go.
there's a big difference in before to now. I'll tell you what it is. But dojo storming, we call it dojo wars. And my first, I think that was my first taste. If not, I'll think of another one. But the the first dojo war that I can think of that I got into was I got a call like 7 o'clock in the morning. It was on a Saturday, and I don't usually get up early. And it was my buddy Cecil Peoples, and he was very excited when I answered the phone. I was like, he was upset. So I answered the phone. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" He goes, "You got to get down here. This guy's from this dojo. It was Frank Duke's dojo, which was in I think it was in the same town. It was right there. It was a couple blocks away. So I'm gonna say it was in Van Nuys. Could have been North Hollywood, maybe Reseda. But I lived in Woodland Hills at the time. Cecil's dojo was in Van Nuys on Van Owen, uh, and he said, "You got to get over here. These guys are leaving. They put up a bunch of flyers on my windows, uh, and it said like, 'Come to a real dojo. Come to Frank Duke's. This place is a sham,' and all this." So Cecil was so pissed off. So I was like, and he said, "And they have a class going right now. So get over here and let's go over there." And I was like, "Okay." So I drive over there real quick. I meet Cecil at his dojo, and then he drives me over to Frank Duke's dojo, and we walked in, and there's a class going on, and we just yell like he said like we had all the papers, all the flyers. He had like 10 flyers that he put all on the windows and the door by Cecil's gym. So we start ripping up the papers and like throwing them all over the dojo floor at Frank Duke's. And we said, "If this happens again, we're gonna next time we come over here, we're gonna kick someone's ass." And there was some kid teaching. He was probably like 15 or 16. He didn't know what was going on. And there's a bunch of guys training, and they're a bunch of goofballs, and they just kind of looked at us. And me and Cecil were standing there, like basically in a fighting stance. And we were riled up. And we said, "If this happens again, man, you and Frank Dukes wasn't there. You tell Frank Dukes we're gonna come over and kick his ass." And we walked away, drove away. So that was one. And then Cecil, okay. Then one of Cecil's students, she's a black belt, and she was going out with another guy who had a school in Tarzana. And Tarzana's right next to Reseda, it's real near Reseda, and he had a school there. And Cecil called me, and he said, I think it was on a Friday, and he said, "We're gonna go over there and kick their ass tonight because so and so is going out with so and so." So basically, one of his black belts was going out with another black belt from another gym. Even though Cecil's black belt trained with him, she was dating someone else. But this guy was like, there was a we thought he was like he beat on her. Basically, he was abusing her. So Cecil was just so pissed off. He just wanted to go over there and beat the shit out of the guy in front of all his students. So I said, let's go. I'm in. So we drive down there, and so we played it cool, and we just pretend we're there to spar. So so uh so you get geared up. It was sparring night, and Cecil knew that, I guess. So we go over there, we put our gear on, and there's like 10 guys, and then me and Cecil from our dojo were the only ones from Cecil's. Then everybody else was from that one. I don't want to name it, but it was a gym in in the this was probably in the early 80s, early 80s, and it was in Tarzana. And so it's a Tang Sudo school. So figure it out if you can, but I don't want to say his name. But so we pretended we are just going to go like, do some point sparring and, real light sparring. But we were planning on just going all out, especially on that one guy, because he was there that night. So we just put our gloves on, and then the first round, whoever we were with, Tisa was with the guy, and I was with another one of his black belts, and we just started just going, like, we just started going through. Broke the window. I mean, not the window. We broke the mirror. There's mirrors, and we just like started slamming the guys, and turned into a real a pretty rough sparring session. So I've had two dojo wars with Cecil and Cecil Peoples. And
Sounds
then,
like bad
but
influence.
but then my third one, check out my third one. This is the famous one because it's in his book and he talks about it, and it changed my life. And I think it might have changed the UFC too, because I mean, I don't know, maybe Chuck would have been better or worse. I don't know if Chuck would have been better or worse if he didn't meet me and I trained him, but I don't know if he'd be better and worse, but he wouldn't be the same. That's for sure. Because he adapted to the style and he became, he was my guy from day one. So I don't know if it might have changed the history of the UFC or it might not have, but his instructor uh, called me one night because I had a gym in my backyard and I was training Chuck. No, I wasn't training Chuck. I'm thinking of a different story. I'm training a bunch of guys, and it's kind of like a rough gym. We have the pit tattoo, and just a bunch of guys go in the backyard and train. We mostly had cops and bouncers. It was on my property. It was in my backyard, and every morning I went out there 10 in the morning, and I would just train a bunch of guys. There's probably like 10 or 15 guys, and we had a kind of reputation. We got the pit tattoo. We had pit apparel back then. This was the old days, and we were known to fight in kickboxing matches or boxing matches or any kind of sport fight that would come around our town. We'd enter. And anyway, this guy calls me one night, and it's kind of weird. And I was hanging out with my dad, and he goes, "Yeah, I hear all about you, and I have a school in San Luis Obispo, and I don't appreciate the how you represent martial arts. In fact, I think you sport guys couldn't even fight in a real street fight if you had to, and I don't think it's a true martial art. So I don't appreciate what you do." He actually told me that. So I just said to him, well, why don't we find out? How about I come to your dojo and let's do a no holds barred, anything goes fight, and let's see if my sport martial art can beat your traditional martial art. And he goes, yeah, okay, yeah, come on down this Friday, 7 o'clock. So I was like, oh, okay, all right, I'll see you there. So anyway, I drive down there with my dad. He wanted to watch. My dad's seen me do this before. So we drive down there, and I walk in the dojo. It's a nice dojo, really. It's a Japanese style, and it's really traditional. It had like a little waterfall and a little, bridge. And so it was pretty well decorated. And I go in, I find his office. And I said, "All right, I'm here, bro. Let's get this over with." And he's like, man, I gotta tell you, man, my back's really been bugging me, and I can't really do it tonight." And I said, okay, well, we'll make it another time. And I was going to walk out. He goes, no, 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 no. I got a guy over there and he'll go with you. He'll test you out if your stuff is real, you know? So I said, okay, where's the guy? And he pointed and I was like, who has a mohawk? It was Chuck. So it was Chuck, and Chuck had been doing some traditional karate before I met him. Um, and I guess, he was also a brawler, well-known brawler in San Luis. He was a local bouncer that got into a lot of fights, and he was a Cal Poly wrestler. So I didn't know all that. So I just said, okay, let's go. And and um and the guy started talking about the rules. I go, bro, there's no rules. That's why I came here. There's no rules. We're gonna see who would do better in the street. And so he introduced me to Chuck. Chuck was very polite, and I just said, "We're just gonna go, bro. There's no rules. Don't worry about it." And so me and Chuck, boom, we went at it, and we went for I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. It was pretty intense, but um, I don't know who got I don't know who got the upper hand, but Chuck followed me into the dress room and asked me if I would start training him. So I started training him from the next day. On our way home, me and my dad, I was like, he's not gonna come train. I'll never see that guy again. And he showed up at 10 o'clock the next morning, and he trained with me every next day. I know we're on a private jet to wherever, fighting in Japan and whatever. So it was kind of cool the way that worked out. Then another one, I got another one. These are all Dojo War stories. I got another one. When I first moved up here in 1990, my daughter, who was in a year later or so, 2 years later, my daughter, who was with me, uh, she was talking to her friend at school, junior high school, and she was talking about karate. The girl was talking about karate, and this girl's my daughter goes, "Yeah, my dad teaches martial art. He could probably kick your instructor's butt." So I was like, so she came home and told me about this. I was like, oh geez, here we go. So I get a call from him. He talked to his his student, and she got my daughter. He got my daughter's number, which was my number too, because that was back in the old days. And so I get a call from him. He goes, "Hey, I heard you're, saying you could kick my butt." And I said, "Well, actually, my daughter said that, but whatever. I'll back it up if I have to." So he goes, "Yeah, why don't you come down Saturday? We have some sparring." So I said, all right, I'll come down. So I go down there, and there's this guy, and he works at the prison, and he runs this martial arts school, and my ex-wife came with me, and he was kind of bigger and buffer. He looked a little more athletic than I was. I'm a registered full-time registered nurse at the time, and I'm not in really top training. But my wife notices the guy was kind of scary looking, and she was like, "Oh shit!" So we got on the mat and we just started going at it, and all of a sudden she heard a thump, and she went, "Oh shit!" John hit the ground, and she looked, and it was him on the ground. So, so I dropped the guy, and I started training there with him on Saturdays. He asked me to come over and start running his Saturday sparring classes, and I thought that'd be kind of cool because I could bring some of my guys, and it could be, he had a bigger school, and so we became actually good friends after that. So that was a dojo war that turned good.
So,
Anyway,
so far from hearing a lot of the stories and in my experiences too. So I've seen dojo storming framed as something that's bad or something that's negative, but
yeah,
and a lot of the times from the stories you said, a lot of your experiences ended up leading to more networking connections between you and the martial arts community.
there
Uh,
are, there
so
are,
it just
yeah,
led to more people interacting. The more you were apt to take up a dojo storm, or in your case, initiate a dojo storm, it would actually end up connecting you with more martial artists and giving you more networking and more connections as you move forward.
yeah, yeah. Or it could turn the other way, and then make you enemies in town, and it could go any crazy way. It's like since when I opened up the gym, we already had a name. I've been teaching for almost 10 years when I opened. I've been teaching for 10 years when I actually opened a real gym, the one you came to. It's a commercial gym. It's 10,000 square feet, and it's a far cry from my 800 square foot gym in my backyard. You know, but I had because we had a little bit of a reputation, the pit, and I already had a reputation. I've already fought in this town. I fought at local venues, so I had following of a lot of people have seen me fight. When I started working at the prison, a lot of the inmates had seen me fight. So I had a reputation of fighting. So when I opened the dojo, my main gym, I had a lot of people come in with their school. Like I had different school from the areas come in and hey, what day's sparring day? We want to bring some of my guys in, and then we'd always have to give them a beating and because nobody understood the way we were doing it. We didn't do little point stuff. We actually when we sparred, we sparred. I mean, it was just like we had a fight coming up. Even if my guys weren't fighting and they were cops or whatever, we trained our guys like they were in training for a fight because they are. If you get jumped in the street, so we've always trained that way. So I had guys coming in. Then we got a little more popular with the MMA community, which started picking up in the early 2000s. Um, I had guys come in, hey, wrestlers come in. Hey, I bet I could take you down. Let's go. And I'd be challenged to spar the guy to see if he could take me down, and we had all kind of crazy shit like that. So there was some dojo wars going. We had some of the traditional martial arts schools weren't as you know humble and stuff as you see in like like Karate Kid, like Miyagi-san. Some of their guys came in and they were like point fighter kind of guys, but they came into my gym and they wanted to try to make a name for themselves, and they're like, "Yeah, I'll spar with you guys," and they'd always do real good until they caught that left hook or a head kick, and they would be on the ground. So I've been experienced with do. I only have to be honest, I only have good experiences with dojo wars. So to be honest, it's a good thing. If it gets ugly, then it's not a dojo war. Then it's assault. You know, it could be assault then. So like, I've never gone into a dojo of a guy that didn't deserve it and give him a beating. I never did that. It's only if they deserved it. So bing.
So, looking at some of our comments here. Let's see. Hello, Zen. Nicholas, I am going to get to your. Actually, we're going to get to your question after I check out the rest of these comments real quick. All right. Zen Baron says Frank Dukes never won a kumite, by the way, but John Claude Van Damme looked good from Bloodsport by making a movie that never did any of the things that he said he did. True Vinster says it seems most dojo storms and issues I've seen are more crazy or delusional lone wolves rather than dojo versus dojo. I live in the
Yeah, yeah,
middle.
yeah. And a lot of my stuff is like that. But I have seen. Okay, I'll give you one. When I started training Chuck, um, another karate school it's gone now, but it was right down the street. It's probably the closest karate school to my gym, and I got invited by their head guy to bring some of my guys in and spar, and you know I guess they didn't get the memo, but we start sparring and that cracked the guy in the head, and they're like, "Whoa, whoa, no, man, you can't do that. Well, we don't do face contact here." I go, "I thought you guys wanted to fight over here. What are we doing?" "Oh, no, you can't do." So we sparred, and then like, boom, leg kick. Oh, he's like that. Oh, ouch. We don't do that here. It's like, what do you do then? You know. So next thing I know, Chuck kicked one of the guys in the head and knocked him out cold. So I was like, "Whoa, don't tell me. No, you don't kick to the head either." And they were over there trying to revive him. And needless to say, that was a typical dojo war, and we never got invited back.
Well, so again, I think definitely laying out the terms of engagement is definitely necessary if you're gonna do something like that.
Yeah, to me, because I'm going to go in and just say I don't have to say anything. Or if someone comes to my gym, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to. The rules are always the same. Hit as hard as you want to be hit, and do whatever you want until I say stop. So those are the rules. If the guy, he can go by whatever rules he wants. That's what my guy's going to go by. So whether we go to someone else's dojo or they come to mine, that's the rules. Hit as hard as they're hitting you. You know what I mean? So you start off hit as hard as you want to be hit, but then if they hit you harder, now the rule just changed to hit as hard as they're hitting you or harder.
Yeah, that's the golden rule of sparring, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we do have a question here, not related to the topic, but related to UFC 300. Hey, coach, can you make a video about Alex Pereira's left hook technique? Did the
I
pit
have.
did the pit teach Alex about it?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I've worked with Alex before. Um, I don't know what he picked up on, but I haven't trained him very much. So I think in all the training he does, the time I've worked with him a few times, but I'm gonna say he's picked that up from his more regular instructors. Like we've gone over left hooks and we've done a lot of stuff. Did any of my stuff ever rub off on him? I don't know, but I've I'm I'm not a I don't think I've trained him enough so that he's gotten. The only thing I could say is he's under my guy Glover, who spent a lot of time with me training. So it's kind of like a grandfather thing. I think it's in the genes.
All right. And then Nicholas, right now I just tagged one of the many videos. There's many, 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 many. If I really do encourage you, Nicholas, to look at the Pit Online Dojo playlists. And there's a bunch of videos on different variations of the left hook.
And look at that one. I call the fish hook.
The fish
So
hook.
I call that one the fish hook.
All right. So I'll try to see if I can find that one. And
It's
then,
on. It's on the. It's on my WhatsApp. I
yeah,
just. Yeah.
I'll try to find that specific one. The one I just sent him was the invisible left hook, and I'll post the fish hook right now on the in the comments right here in the on the live video. William John, off topic, coach. Giving Ryan Garcia's recent social media outbursts and possible mental breakdown, would you let him fight Haney this weekend? Seems odd they are letting him fight. Thoughts?
I don't know enough about him. I would have him tested by some neurosurgeon or neurologist, and I don't really. I'm not really buying anything, but if there's a physical any physical damage with like a CAT scan of the brain or even an MRI of the brain. And if there's no damage there, then just because he's a quirky guy, maybe he's just kind of some fighters they get riled up, man. Like, remember old videos of Mike Tyson? I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna kiss you. I'm gonna make you kiss me. He did some crazy shit pre-fight. I'm gonna rape you, and crazy shit he used to say. But they let him fight. I don't. I think fighters are just like any male, but they're a little more. I don't know. They're fighters sometimes get riled up, man. Shit. Look at this stuff. Look at this fucking Conor McGregor does crazy shit. The Diaz brothers throwing fucking water bottles and shit. Yeah, I mean, fighting is a very violent sport mentally and physically. And I mean, you're fighting a guy, man. You're gonna sometimes you crack, you snap.
Yeah, yeah,
So yes, I think if everything tests fine for that guy, I think just because of I don't think they should pull a fight from him just because he acts wacky. A lot of people act wacky.
That's how you promote the fight. The wackier you are, I mean, the more people want to watch you fight. So True Vince just says there was one dojo versus dojo issue I've seen. There's a bunch of BJJ schools all headed by one guy, and he always tried to push or bully other rival BJJ organizations out of town. They did actual Dojo Storms. Yeah, that's happened. There was that incident with a while back. It was a Gracie Baja school and another affiliated Gracie school, not Gracie Baja. One of their instructors at a tournament kind of got in the face of another instructor, and Gracie Baja does more sport jiu-jitsu, and this other place did more MMA. And he ended up elbowing the coach in the face, and then there was a lawsuit and all these things being said that please don't do any dojo storming in that situation. So yeah, it happens in different styles and in BJJ. Jimmy Vox says he speaks the truth about Mike Tyson. Yep. Jesse A says it happens. My grandmaster said his grandmaster had some folks that hated him. So there would be some confrontations at tournaments. People just jealous or minor disagreements. Maybe some fun times. Jimmy says, ludicrous. The Iron Moose. Do you take any precautions against TBI in sparring? Neck exercises, headgear, etc.
I don't think neck exercises help at all. I think if anything, it's going to create more brain damage. It definitely is not going to help it. But yeah, we do a lot. We do a lot of precautions, and mainly the precaution is we don't hit really hard to the head. That's basically the only precaution. Headgears don't work. We wear the biggest gloves we can without going crazy and not being able to train at all. So we do 16-ounce gloves. I know we could go bigger, but then they're like pillows and there's no realism at all, and you can't grab at all because we do grabbing, clinching, takedowns and stuff. So we use the biggest gloves that we can, and I try to people control themselves. Anytime two guys are sparring, not every single time everybody, but if you get people sparring, there's going to be once in a while somebody's going to fly off the handle. I mean, if you go to a jiu-jitsu match and they argue, you go to a jiu-jitsu drilling or freestyling and they get mad at each other, guess what they're going to do? They're going to punch each other, even though they're jiu-jitsu guys. That's how you know even jiu-jitsu guys really think punching is better than jiu-jitsu, because when they get mad at each other, they start swinging. When two baseball players get mad, they start swinging. When two basketball players get mad, they start swinging. Okay, so that is what people do. Especially, imagine what they do if they get mad at each other when they're already swinging. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to swing harder. So we try not to do that. Another thing I do if any of my students or my fighters, even my fighters, if I ever see them lose any kind of consciousness, any kind of or even if I sense that they got any kind of concussion, any of the signs of a concussion, blurred vision, loss of memory, nausea and vomiting, stuff like dilated pupil, anything. They're not sparring again for 3 months. 3 months. That's a long time. 3 months. If any of my fighters ever get KO'd or get dropped hard in a fight or in the gym, 3 months, no contact. So I pull guys out of fights that I got argued with by the promoter and the fighter, but I said, no, my fighter, they get any kind of concussion, they're not even getting hit again for another 3 months. So I do take that very, very, very seriously. But then again, if two guys are sparring, they want to bang a little bit, I let them.
And again, I love that drill that I did when I went over, where we were doing like 90% to the body and then light to the head. That was a boxing drill. I took that up to kickboxing for my kickboxer. He's got a match coming up next month. Who actually joined because of a Dojo Storm. He's now one of my Kaji Kembo students. He showed up to Dojo Storm, my place. He was a pro boxer, and he wanted to check out the local quote unquote karate school, MMA school, and he challenged me and my students. And very similar story. I got him with a kick to the head, and he joined. So he came into storm and he joined. So anyway, that guy, we did that drill, and it worked out. Well, it didn't work out too good for him that yesterday, but it's still a good drill. He didn't get his head hit. You got the wind knocked out of him, you know, but he didn't get his head hit.
When we do it. Just anything goes. But when you're there, we do it boxing because we don't have room for kicks or takedowns. Yeah, we have like over 20 people in the room. If we start doing takedowns or kicks, there's not enough room.
Yeah, but it's a great drill. The point is that you can still go hard by avoiding.
You dig to the body. You know, try to control it to the face. I give percentages. It's usually like 5% to the face. Sometimes if I'm or even 2% to the face. And then I know sometimes they're gonna mix it up a little. We had one. I got a really funny story. It was when Chuck was getting ready. He hadn't turned pro yet, so he's still an amateur kickboxer. And we were training, and some guy heard about our gym. It's when it was still in my backyard. So it was in the 90s. And this guy called. He goes, "Yeah, I got my guys here in town, you know, because he has some relatives here, but he's fighting in New York or something. He won the gold medal in the Olympics. His name was Andy the Hawk. Wait, shit. Is it the Hawk Price? No, it wasn't. I forget his name. I'll find it. I think his nickname was the Hawk. But anyway, he won the Olympics cruiserweight. He won the Olympics. I don't even know a year. But anyway, he was an Olympic gold medal boxer. Now he's a pro boxer. So he came to the gym and I said, "Yeah, I got a guy for you, but he's a kickboxer and he's an amateur. So let me just tell you. And he's a wrestler. So I'll give you guys can spar with him, but if you take advantage of him, he's gonna hurt your guy. He will hurt him, I guarantee you." So this guy comes up, his manager, and they're all gung ho to spar with us. And Chuck, you know, I give him a sign what I'm gonna do. If he looks at me, I want him to take the guy down. And he's just a boxer. He's just a professional boxer who actually won the Olympics. Oh, I wish I had my thing to find his name.
It's not Andy. I found an Andy Hawk Price.
But he was a welterweight, right?
This guy I found here is Andy Hawk Price, an uncrowned welterweight champion.
Yeah, that wasn't him. This guy had Hawk or something as nickname too. See if there's another Hawk nickname that won the Olympics. And I think he was a cruiserweight.
Okay.
I think his nickname was the Hawk, or Falcon Hawk. Yeah, I think it was Hawk.
Because the Andy Hawks I'm seeing aren't.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't Andy, just something the Hawk is a nickname.
Okay, I'm gonna put the Hawk. So continue your story though. So what happened?
Yeah, so anyway, so we start going, and his manager is this just arrogant, really fucking irritating guy, and they're going really good. And now you gotta realize it was at my gym, and my mat was wood. It was a wood floor. My mat. There was no padding. So there was a lot of damage when we got taken down. But anyway, that was the long time ago. So we were kind of in our tougher phase. But anyway, so they're sparring, doing real good. But then he's yelling at him to pick it up and hit harder. So I told him, "Bro, don't hit hard." So he starts going after Chuck. And Chuck's an amateur kickboxer who's probably has 5 amateur kickboxing matches. This guy has like 300 professional or amateur boxing matches, and he's like going at Chuck. So I gave Chuck the signal, and Chuck just ran in and took him down. Now he took him down pretty hard, and the guy sprained his ankle.
Oh.
So now they're all pissed off, and like the manager, "What the hell was that? He's got a fight coming up in Europe, man. He's supposed to make so and so. Now he's got to pull out of the fight." I go, "I told you, bro. If you go hard, you're gonna get hurt." And the guy was like, the guy with the ankle, he was like, I that was my fault. I'm sorry. That was all my fault. But the manager was trying to be an ass. Like, "You guys, I'll never come back here. I'm gonna badmouth you all over," whatever he was saying. But the funny thing was the boxer, just that I'm sorry, man. That was my fault. I was going too hard. You guys were in the right. So anyway, do you see a price? What?
Pryor, an Aaron Pryor Hawk, who had
No, no, not Aaron. Oh man, Aaron Pryor was the baddest. He's the guy that knocked out Alexis Arguello.
yeah, he's got a really good record.
Yeah, but yeah, he was unbelievable. In fact, I trained with him at Muhammad Ali's boxing gym in like 1980, back in Santa Monica, California. And I remember I'm training, I'm just turning pro, and all of a sudden it's like this fucking Aaron Pryor shows up, and I was like, holy shit. But so there's some good stories there. What do
So
we got? Any questions?
some more. Let me go back to where we left off here. Okay. You gotta fight for your right to parties. You're not gonna let go of the 80-year-old stripper joke, are you, Jimmy Fox Johnson? Seafood says grasshopper. Nicholas, can old age alone, without any damage to chin or KO, still make the chin easy to KO? So can getting old, if you've never been knocked out, you never got that much damage, it's kind of hard to do if you're in the fight game, but let's say that happens. Can you just getting older make it easier to get knocked out?
Um, I would say yes.
Okay.
I don't think there's ever been. I don't know if there's been a study about that, but I'm just gonna go out of the top of my house. I think when you get older, you'd be more susceptible to everything.
Okay. And then John Cox says hello. Hello, John. Sorry.
Hey, what's up?
Zen Baron, sock and boppers. Yep. Nicholas asks, y'all don't do exercises? Y'all don't do neck exercises? Why?
We do, but I didn't say we didn't. I do a lot of neck exercises, but I don't think neck exercises will prevent you from getting a knockout. That was the question. Would doing neck exercises prevent you from getting TBI or traumatic brain injury or something? I don't think neck exercises help that at all. That was the question. It wasn't, do we do neck exercises? Yes, we do. Do I think they prevent you from getting knocked out? No, but they do help in a lot of grappling situations, especially choking when you want to dig your neck or you want to, clinch and you want to bring up your neck, tie clinch. So we do a lot of neck stuff in the grappling part of our training, but the fighting, we just keep it supple and make it so you want it to ride with the punch. You don't want it to be here, and then when you get hit real hard, it doesn't move as much, right? Because you've been working out and make it really solid. Then you get hit, all the trauma is going to happen in your head. Whereas if you have a lighter, looser neck, where it's more supple, it rides with the punches more. So the question was, do we do neck exercises to minimize or mitigate TBI? No, we do them to mitigate getting choked the fuck out.
Okay. And I forgot what we typed it as. Oh well, I can't find it. We talked about this topic, and you called it tunivity. We did like a whole live on this a while back. More comments. They're pouring in. Let me see here. Okay. We left off there. Okay. Baseball brawls are wild. That's right, Zen. They are. The Iron Moose. Great insight. Thanks. You're welcome. Drew Vinster. Question: do you think TMA, karate, taekwondo, traditional martial arts? Okay. All right. Good. Tend towards the delusional side. I think they are on the same fighting capabilities as MMA, kickboxing, or submission grapplers. Okay.
Okay.
So like if I understand you, Vinster, you can come in and clear this up. You feel that you're asking if you think traditional martial arts like karate, taekwondo are more delusional, but at the same time, your opinion is that you feel that they have the same capabilities as MMA, kickboxing, or submission grapplers. And if I'm wrong, go throw it out there. Back to the question: do you think that traditional martial arts tend to go towards being a little more delusional than the other arts?
Yeah. Definitely. I think, and it depends what you call traditional. I'm a traditional martial arts school. I consider myself very traditional. I mean, oh, you can. I mean, you see, like I take my belts very seriously. Can you see that?
I'll do this. I gotta do this for that. You ready? I have to get out of this view. Is that okay?
Oh, okay, never mind that. But I take my we wear a gi. We wear a gi, which is the uniform. We do belt ceremonies. We bow. We do the pit prayer. We run a very traditional school. We bow before we go on the mat. We call our instructor Kumu. I mean, so we're very traditional. We do Christmas parties, Halloween parties, Easter parties. We're a very traditional, family-oriented gym, very traditional.
There you go.
But
That's the traditional
but
belt.
but I feel like that we that's the most of the traditional schools I know, especially karate. I feel they're very delusional in these. They do nonsensical techniques like katas and forms and just stuff that is it's very delusional. Where if you're doing it and then you make up something, you go, "I just did this," but what this really meant was, I'm going to grab his wrist, I'm going to move it over here, then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to punch him in the face. They do these moves and then they call it, bunkai, and they try to disguise the whatever they're calling it. Um, I mean, they're calling it something that's supposed to be real, but it's not real at all. And so I feel like the majority of traditional martial arts schools that I see are very, very delusional in their curriculum. If they think they're a self-defense school or they're doing any good to this kid or adult that's going to be able to help themselves defend their lives in the street. So long short answer.
Like what I think is funny, like when we start throwing around words like quote unquote traditional. Really, they say Taekwondo is traditional. Well, guess what? Taekwondo was actually not started officially till about the 1940s, 1950s. Guess what? The roots of Kajikembo, 1940s, 1950s, and Hawaiian Kempo is related to that same lineage. So we're still talking traditional. Like people throw out the word traditional and they think it's like 1,000 years old. But some of the arts you're calling traditional are just as old as the arts that we're connected to. So like that's kind of an interesting topic that maybe can be covered on a different podcast, a different show. Nicholas says Chuck Liddell versus Alex Pereira would have been great. Yeah, I would have. William John, although they're in the same school, Either way, William John. Regarding the age and the chin, we'll find out on July 20th when 50-year-old Tyson fights. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Zen Baron, what about chin exercises? What about chin exercises?
I don't know, a chin exercise would be biting down something. I don't know. I don't know if that could help you not, not hurt your jaw, but it's not going to help you not get knocked out. It's not going to do a thing for it because the tighter your jaw is, you get hit there. It's still gonna tweak your neck like that, and you're still gonna, so you're still gonna get knocked out the same.
One of the
That kind of stuff's just not gonna work. Sorry.
most bogus advice I ever got from a Japanese kickboxing coach was that I need to eat more well done steak because the chewing will build my jaw and prevent knockouts.
Yeah.
You like eating steak so, after a bad weight cut, like eating steak didn't sound like a good idea at the time. So,
You actually said that. No, I mean, I see that. It's good to have a strong jaw because I mean, if you're not biting down hard, it's not going to prevent you from getting knocked out, but it could prevent you from breaking your jaw. And I mean, so tightening up your jaw is a really good idea, and biting into the mouthpiece is also a good idea. So is keeping your fucking hands up and your chin down. So
and who doesn't love steak? So, next question. And they're like I said, they're rolling in. We're gonna try to wrap this up here. What about your next? Okay. Do you ever do rounds blocking with your forehead? John Cox asks. You ever do rounds blocking with your forehead?
I don't understand that question. Blocking what?
I think punches, like doing the like the that thing.
If you're like, if you're blocking punches in any kind of real life situation, like really sparring with when they're trying to punch you, if you're blocking with your forehead, then if you're not retarded yet, you will be. I mean, that's
Okay.
like that's got. I mean, come on, man, seriously. That's like blocking a liver punch with your liver, and you're gonna toughen up your liver. Are you trying to toughen something up? You can't toughen up your brain.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this guy's dogging us.
No, I think he is. I think John Cox is listening to this. If you're
Why
not,
would he do that?
I,
He gets us riled up here.
Drew Minster says most people I know who do traditional martial arts are delusional about their fighting capabilities. Rusty Truck says sensationalism sells. Being traditional isn't flashy enough for a lot of people. True Vincer says, I don't know if you're familiar with the YouTube channel Armchair Violence. He separates traditional martial arts and MMA in the process of oriented arts versus results oriented arts. William John, Jack Dempsey used to chew pine tar to strengthen his jaw. Interesting. William John, no fucking idea where to get pine tar though. Yep. Not now.
And again, I'm all for tightening your jaw, make it so you don't break your jaw, but it's not going to help you not get knocked out.
Rusty Truck says, ruin all your steaks to train your jaw for more frequent impacts. Got it. Yeah, don't. Don't. There's other ways. Chew gum. John Cox explains a lot. Thank you.
Oh, he was clowning us, huh?
He was. All right, everyone. We are well done, everybody. Well done.
Are we done?
Another successful episode of the Live Clean and Fight Dirty show. If you just showed up, we just finished our Q&A, and we started off with what does the pit do about Dojo Storms? So if you want to start from the beginning now and find out some great stories, Frank Dukes comes up. I thought it was great. So
there's some good stories, aren't they?
We have a lot of different cool stories in the beginning about what the pit does in those situations. Oh, what about? Oh, come on, Drew. We're not. What about Iron Nuts training? Okay, now they're just trolling us. So, yeah, I've seen videos of guys getting kicked in the nuts. Either way, maybe for another episode, we'll do a complete episode about getting kicked in the nuts. But for now, thank you for checking out the Live Clean and Fight Dirty show every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. If you're looking for training, check out thepit.tv. There are still some slots available to audit a class for less than 2 cups of coffee. The cost of 2 cups of coffee. Less than that, you can audit a whole martial arts class. Train along. They're not like instructional videos. You actually are in a class. You can train. Sit there and
train with me. You can train with us.
Exercise. You can
interact. We got videos, and we even do we have our own version of a Zoom, which we have. We could have the whole class doing their own thing, and I can be watching you guys train, and you get belts too. So
it is.
So you don't get the belt. You got to win the belt. You got to earn the belt, but you still get you get one if you earn it.
So again, you have the audit version where you can check it out first, train along, and then you can actually join and work your way all the way through the system. All right. Thank you, everyone, for supporting the show, and we'll catch you all next time. Later.